Welcome to Study Time, a televised home learning program produced by Rwanda Basic Education Board.
Hello students, welcome to TV learning program. My name is Benon. I will be taking senior 1 students in biology. Dear students, I'm very happy to be with you today and hope you will actively participate in this lesson. I need your views, I need your questions, answers from you so that we can all actively participate in the lesson, so that we can share views, so that we can learn from one another. Thank you so much. I request you to get your pen, to get your notebook, so that you can note down important points of this lesson. Dear students, allow me ask you this question. What is the importance of reproduction? What is the importance of reproduction? Do you think reproduction is important? And if it is important, is it important to animals only, plants only, or all of them? Excellent. Reproduction is important. Let it be reproduction in animals, let it be reproduction in plants, because as plants reproduce, animals get food. As plants reproduce, the environment looks very nice. The nature is beautiful because of plants. And remember, these plants, like trees, provide good air. They can attract rainfall. They can prevent soil erosion. They can be good habitat for different insects, birds, and other big animals. Because remember, forests are very good. They can even be source of timber, source of herbal medicine, and so on. So plants need to reproduce, and that is very important. Animals as well should reproduce, because some animals are food for other animals. So reproduction is very important. Let us see some of the points. Reproduction ensures survival of a species. That means when organisms reproduce, the species are increased and they can live from one generation to another generation. Reproduction involves the fusion of male and female gametes to produce new genetic combinations. This is what we call variation. Differences between organisms of the same species. And this variation is very important because it makes organisms adapted to live in the environment, resistant to diseases, the beauty of the nature, and so on. Humans have separate male and female reproductive system. But when you see male reproductive system, is different from female reproductive system. And then male gonads have got what we call testes, which produce cells called sperms. Female gonads have ovaries, which produce cells called eggs, or ova, or ovum when it is only one. So fusion of male and female cells is a process called fertilization. And this fertilization, let us say we have sperm, and then we have ovum. They fuse together by the process called fertilization to form zygote, and then the zygote will form embryo. Embryo will form fetus, and then the fetus will form baby. So this is the result of reproduction, or from fertilization to implantation, then to reproduction. So reproduction is very important because it is important for survival of species, it increases population of organisms, it also causes variation among organisms, and it also produces organisms which are adapted to environment. Then this is what happens from sperm and oocyte to zygote, then from zygote to 2-cell stage, 4-cell stage, 8-cell stage, which leads to morula, and morula leads to blastocyst. The blastocyst causes implantation, and this is embryo. Then from embryo to fetus, as you have seen, from fetus to baby. Now, how is reproduction related to our lesson today? Because we have seen that reproduction is important in plants, it is also important in animals. Now, how is that related to our lesson today? Our lesson today is from Unit 14, which is Reproduction, Pregnancy, and Childbirth. This is lesson number 1, where we are going to talk about male and female reproductive systems. Objectives of our lesson, or what we should know within this lesson: we have to explain parts and functions of male reproductive system. We also have to explain parts and functions of female reproductive system. So by the end of this lesson, dear students, make sure you know parts of male and female reproductive system as well as their functions. Thank you. Now, let us talk about male reproductive system. Do you know some parts of male reproductive system? If you know them, well and good. Now, we have parts like testicles, like this one is a testicle, and this testicle is very important. Why? Because inside we have what we call seminiferous tubules, and those tubules are very important in production of sperms. Remember, sperms are produced by the process called spermatogenesis. Spermatogenesis. Or we can even define it as the process by which sperms are formed in testicles. Now, when sperms are formed, this is very good because they are needed in the process of reproduction. These sperms, when they are produced, they go to what we call epididymis. Epididymis is this part you see here, and this is where sperms are stored, and that is where sperms can mature from, maturity, becoming mature so that they are able to fertilize the egg. Meaning epididymis has 2 important functions. 1, that's where sperms are stored. That's where sperms mature from. From there, we can see what we call vas deferens. This vas deferens is also called sperm duct. A duct, remember, is a channel where a secretion passes from. Secretion is a useful substance produced by the body. Sperms are very important because they are haploid cells needed in the process of reproduction. Then from there, we have what we call prostate gland. Prostate glands are you see, these are the glands. They are very important in production of the prostate fluid. Fluid is a liquid substance. Then we also have what we call seminal vesicles. Seminal vesicles are behind this bladder, and these vesicles produce seminal fluid. That fluid is very important. We are going to see its function. We also have another gland called Cowper's gland or bulbourethral gland. They also produce a fluid. meaning we have 3 different parts which produce the liquid substance, which is very important in reproduction. How? This fluid produced by prostate gland, Cowper's gland, and seminal vesicles is very important because it is needed in the process of transporting sperms. Remember, this fluid, in addition to sperms, form what we call semen. Semen. And this is very important because it even has food nutrients needed by the sperm, like fructose. Remember, sperms need fructose, which is a sugar substance, actually a monosaccharide sugar, which provides energy needed by sperms. Remember, sperms move going through the female reproductive system, going towards the fallopian tube or oviduct, where they fertilize the ovum. Then, in addition to that, we have what we call urethra, which is within the penis, and this urethra allows the passage of semen. It also allows the passage of urine, urine which comes from bladder, bladder which is part of renal system or urinary system. Sometimes we call it excretory system. Then we also have what we call scrotum or scrotal sac. Those are responsible for storing testicles. And this is very important because sperms are temperature sensitive. So when you see the temperature within the scrotum is slightly below the normal body temperature. Why? To avoid sperms from being destroyed. Now, this is the same structure, but showing all the parts we have talked about. We have talked about testicles, which produce sperms. They also produce a hormone called testosterone, which is responsible for male secondary sexual characteristics. Then we have bulbourethral gland, also known as Cowper's gland, which produces the fluid. We have prostate gland, which produces the fluid. We have seminal vesicles, which produce the high quantity of the fluid that makes semen. Then we have urinary bladder, which is part of urinary system. We have vas deferens. These are the sperm ducts which transport sperms produced by testicles. Then we have epididymis, which stores sperms and allows them to grow to maturity. So this is the male reproductive system. We also have female reproductive system. This female reproductive system is made up of parts like vagina or birth canal, where the baby passes during reproduction. It is also where sperms can pass as they go to fertilize the ovum. We have cervix. This cervix is very important because it protects the uterus and it also protects the fetus during pregnancy. It also directs sperms as they are moving towards the fallopian tube. From there we have the uterus or the womb. We have uterus, which is also known as womb. Now, that is where the baby grows from. This womb or uterus is made up of endometrium. These are the innermost muscles. Then it is also made up of myometrium. From there we have ovary. Like you see, this female reproductive system is made up of 2 ovaries. This one and this one. One is on the left side, another one is on the right side. The function of the ovary is to produce egg cells or ova. Here we can say egg cells are also called ova, or we can even say ovum when it is only one. Then ovaries are very important because they also produce hormones. Here we can talk about estrogen hormone. Then from there, we have the fimbriae. These are finger-like projections which allow the passage of the ovum as it goes to the fallopian tube. And in the fallopian tube, that's where we have fertilization, because that's where the sperm and ovum meet. So this fallopian tube is called oviduct. Fallopian tube is also called oviduct, and we can also call it uterine tube. And that's where fertilization takes place. Now, what do you understand when we talk about fertilization? Fertilization is the process whereby male and female haploid cells meet and form a diploid cell called zygote. Male ejaculates between 2 and 6 milliliters of semen that contains about 300 million sperms. Can you imagine this? Within 6 milliliters of semen, we have about 300 million sperms. And only one sperm is going to fertilize an egg. So this is amazing. Now, let us see what happens in the process of fertilization. Sperm makes contact with an egg. This is the egg. Remember, the egg is very big in size compared to the size of the sperm. Then, from there, we have what we call acrosome on the head of the sperm. This acrosome contains hydrolytic enzymes which are going to dissolve the zona pellucida, which is the outer membrane of the ovum. So it means with step number 2, acrosome reacts with zona pellucida. Then step number 3, acrosome reacts with divitelline space, perivitelline space. Like you see, this is the perivitelline space where the acrosome is going to react with. Then step number 4, the plasma membrane of the sperm and egg fuse. Like you see, the plasma membrane of the sperm and the egg are fusing. When they fuse, the sperm nucleus is going to enter into the egg. When it enters, then the cortical granules fuse with the egg plasma membrane, which renders the vitelline layer impenetrable to the sperm. This is very important because when one sperm has entered into the nucleus of the ovum, that means the vitelline becomes thick and hard so that no any other sperm can enter. Remember, about 300 million sperms have entered. Some die along the way and others reach the ovum, but only one of them has to fertilize the ovum. So that is what happens and takes place in the fallopian tube. Then we also have female reproductive system, and in that system we are going to see what happens during fertilization. We said the ovary produces ovum or female egg, and this egg is going to go to the fallopian tube, and in the fallopian tube it is going to meet the sperm. When they meet, the egg is fertilized and forms the zygote. On day number 1, we start to see what we call cleavage on day number 2, whereby the zygote divides by the process of mitosis to produce 2 cells. Then this is a 2-cell stage which is going to also undergo mitosis to produce a 4 cell stage. This can happen on day number 3 or day number 4, between day number 3 and day number 4. From there, this 4 cell stage is also going to undergo mitosis to produce 8 cell uncompacted morula, and then this uncompacted morula is going to lead to compacted morula. This is around day number 4. Then from there, on day number 5, we have what we call early blastocyst. This blastocyst is going to start the process of implantation or attachment of the blastocyst in the endometrium of the uterus. This happens on between day number 6 and day number 7. Then around day number 8 to day number 9, we have implantation of blastocyst, meaning at this stage, the blastocyst is fully attached to the endometrium of the uterus. And the blastocyst is the one that forms embryo. Then the embryo is going to last about 8 weeks. Then from 8 weeks and on, we have the fetus. The fetus goes from 8th week up to 40th week, where the baby is going to be produced. So we have fetal development, where the fetus grows in different stages. Remember, we have 3 trimesters. We have the first trimester, second trimester, and third trimester. Those are different stages in which the fetus goes from. Then you can see from 0 to 2 weeks, we have the germinal. And then from 3 to 8 weeks, we have the embryo. From 9th week up to birth, we have the fetus. Does this make sense? From germinal, we have zygote which forms embryo between 3 to 8 weeks. And then from 9th week up to birth, or 40th week, we have the fetus. Still, this is showing what happens. From fertilized egg, the diploid zygote, we have 2 cell stage, 4 cell stage, 8 cell stage, 16 cell stage, then to blastocyst. Then we have the fetus, then this is the fetus. That is the baby or the fetus within the mother. This is around 32 weeks. This is around week number 4. That means the baby is ready to be produced. Now, we have a very important organ which is called placenta. Placenta is formed from the embryo because the embryo has what we call trophoblast cells, which contributes to the formation of placenta. Something which is amazing, placenta is an organ which is formed from 2 different organisms, the mother and the baby. This placenta is very important. Remember, it has umbilical cord which has umbilical artery and umbilical vein. Umbilical vein transports nutrients and oxygen from the mother to the fetus. The umbilical artery transports waste materials from the fetus to the mother. So placenta provides the fetus with nutrients, food nutrients, sugars, proteins, mineral salts, vitamins, water, and so on. Placenta also removes waste products from the fetus's blood. That means waste products like carbon dioxide and urea. It is also important for exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between the fetus's blood and the mother's blood. Placenta also acts as the filter for harmful substances such as nicotine, drugs, alcohol, and viruses such as HIV/AIDS. Then it also secretes hormone. The hormone we can talk about is HCG. HCG, which is the human chorionic gonadotrophin. This is a hormone which maintains the corpus luteum so that the corpus luteum can continue producing estrogen and progesterone. These are the hormones which maintain the thickening of endometrium. As we have said, umbilical vein carries oxygenated, nutrient-rich blood from the placenta to the uterus. And then umbilical artery carries deoxygenated blood, nutrient-depleted blood from the fetus to the placenta. Any impairment in the blood flow within the umbilical cord can be catastrophic event for the fetus. What are the signs of pregnancy? There is no menstrual period when a woman is pregnant. Slight bleeding or cramping is there. Painful contraction of muscles. Then we have tender breasts. We have extreme tiredness. Backache, sometimes backache, this is the pain of the back. Nausea or sickness. Needing to urinate more often. Headache due to sudden rise of hormones in the body. And then darkening of the skin around nipples of breasts. Then food craving or aversions. Then emotional sensitivity and outbursts due to high hormone levels. Dear students, we have talked about male and female reproductive systems. We have seen different parts and their functions. We have talked about what happens during pregnancy. Allow me to give you homework to test your level of understanding. Question number 1, explain importance of reproduction in organisms of the same species. Question number 2, where does fertilization take place in female reproductive system? Question number 3, what is the function of uterus in the production of organisms? Question number 4, what are functions of the following organs of male reproductive system? Testis, epididymis, prostate gland, corpus gland, and seminiferous tubules. Question number 5, explain components of urine. Question number 6, in your own words, explain the process of fertilization. Thank you for your active participation. Stay safe and enjoy the rest of the day. Bye.